Instagram loaded up. Hopefully tonight the comments will be on time through Facebook. I know for the past week or two we've had some delays. So I'm hoping that tonight we have no delays in comments. So as always, thank you all for joining me tonight. I am operating back and forth from two different cameras, so that's why you see me going this way and that way, okay? Tonight's topic, we are going to cover how to start your NEMT business with your personal vehicle. A lot of you all have had questions about this because you all have probably heard that you can do it but don't know how to get it started, right? So why not just go ahead and speak about it? As always, I'm going to give everyone about 2 minutes to get in here. If you have questions, please make sure you have your questions jotted down. You want to make sure you get the most out of your time tonight, and the only way you do that is if you have your questions ready for the table, okay? Also, because this is a topic that really is state-based, everything is different for this particular topic based on which state that you are in. So please let me know through the comments which state that you are in, so that if I have some knowledge about it, I can share that, or if I know someone within our network that I can pass you off to, okay? If you are, this is your first time joining in, if you're not familiar, I am based in Georgia, so hello everybody that's out there in Georgia, okay? All right. If you have not subscribed to the website, also please make sure you drop your emails on the website. You can put them in the chat here. I'll be able to add you all manually, but you know, if you can just go onto the website and enter your email, that's even better too, okay? All right, so I also want to remind you all that June 28th is the last public live. After that, all lives will be shut down for members only. So if you're not a monthly member, make sure you hit the website, www.thatnemtgirl.com, so that you can check out what may be a good package for you based on where you are right now, and you can sign up so you don't miss this, okay? All right, so I'm going to jump right into it. If you all know anyone that needs to be in here that is not in here, please hit them up and let them know we are starting, okay? All right, so I want to know through the comments, where are you all in your journey? Have you started? I always ask this question, but have you started? Are you thinking about starting? And if you're thinking about starting, are you thinking about starting with your personal vehicle, or do you already have a vehicle to start with? Let me know that. Also, again, please let me know which state that you are located in, because as I mentioned before, this is a topic that really varies by state. Okay, Texas. Yes, Texas. You definitely want to tap into this because you all can operate this way. So before I jump into the technical part of everything, I do want to speak on some structural systems that you all need to have in place before you even hop out there and start getting flyers and business cards made, okay? And there's some things in terms of paperwork that's on the back end, of course, that you have to take care of. So the basics that you must have outside of the vehicle or the insurance, you got to make sure you have your LLC, okay? You can have this business name and ID in your head, but you have to put it on paper and actually file the paperwork to make it legit, okay? You also need to make sure you have your articles of incorporation. It may be called something different in your state, but generally it's the articles of incorporation. Also, some people are a little shocked when you have to have this, but your business license. You want to make sure you check in with your local government to see how do you get your business license. You may have to pay a small fee and fill out an application, and boom, you get it, okay? You may have to do a little extra steps. It just depends on whatever county or state that you're in and what they require. But generally, it's filling out an application and paying your fee for your business license. But you need to have your business license as well. So it's not just your registration, it's not just the LLC, it's also your business license, okay? From there, you want to make sure you get your Duns and Bradstreet number. Why? If you all don't know this is how you build your business credit profile. And if you're going to be spending money, investing time, making profit in a business, you want to make sure that you're profiting as well with your business credit, because that's how you can get your vehicles, that's how you get your marketing material without having to tap into the pockets of the company all the time, okay? Website, do you need one? Yes. Why? It is 2023. What real business doesn't have one, okay? when you want to do business with a company or someone, and you gotta hit the link in their Instagram bio, and then you can't get a tracking number, you can't get something, answered expeditiously, then you're gonna wonder, well, is this a real business? Same thing for you. They're gonna wonder the same thing. Okay, yes, they can call you. Yes, you got a business number. Yes, you gave me a business card. Yes, that's great. But you also need a website. If you are not savvy with doing graphics yourself, that is totally fine. Check out Fiverr, Fiverr. If you are not familiar with Fiverr, Fiverr is a website where you can go on, hire someone to do pretty much anything that you may need done, that it can be done digitally to do for you. They make graphics, they complete documents, they do all certain things for you. So check out Fiverr if you are not savvy with that, to get someone to do a website for you. If you know someone that is reasonable, hit them up, okay? Hit them up. So make sure you take care of that. You want to make sure you have marketing material, okay? Because as I go into more of this, when you're doing more of your business in a personal vehicle and just starting off with that, you are going to be doing a lot of marketing for yourself, because you really want to make yourself stand out. So you have to have marketing material, your brochures, your flyers, your business cards. You want to make sure all of that stuff is always on hand, because you never know who you're going to run into, okay? Also, your business bank account. I spoke on a Dun & Bradstreet number, but you also need your business bank account. Why? Because when you go for a business loan, or you go for some funding or a grant opportunity, they want to see your financials. They want to know you're a real business. Yeah, you can say you own something. Anybody can say they own something. Anybody can tell you, yeah, I'm making this per week or per month or whatever. Okay, so when it comes time for you to get money from somebody, what can they see that gives them proof that you are making what you say you make, or you're doing the numbers that you say you're doing? Because that is all going to be in black and white, okay? So make sure you have your business bank account. Please don't have anybody cash apping you, Zelling you, none of that. Make sure, everything, every transaction goes to your business bank account. So all of this, like I said, the Dun & Bradstreet, Dun & Bradstreet, the DNB number, and your business bank account, which you need to start establishing your business credit. Yes, there's more to it. That's not all there is. But in the beginning, when you're first starting off, these are what you need to make yourself legit, okay? All right, so we touched on the basic systems. Now, that's for anyone who has not started yet, who is thinking about starting. If you are starting already, or you have started already, and you don't have some of the things I mentioned, please make sure you tap into those things and you check those out, because you need them, okay? Cool. All right, so I'm going to move on to the next part, which is the pros and cons of starting with your own vehicle. Please excuse me, I'm a little thirsty. All right. Okay, so some of the pros. You get a jump start in the industry, okay? A lot of you maybe who have not started yet may be thinking about how to start, or should you do this? Is it a good thing for you? Should you buy this van? Should you invest in all of this money into this business before? Right? You may be having all these questions in your head. Totally valid. It's totally valid questions. But this is why you're here tonight. Because you're like, okay, well, I have a car already. So how can I start with my own car? It gives you a jump start into the industry by doing that. You get the experience, you get to get your clients and, see how the flow of things works, see how the profit may work, how the volume may work. If you're doing broker, if you're doing private pay, you get an experience with that, right? Whereas if you're saving up for a vehicle, or, you're saving up for a wheelchair van, and you're like, man, I'm not going to be able to get this van until next year. Okay, that's valid as well. Well, what can you do right now? You can start with your own vehicle. So that gets you started into the industry. You also have less overhead startup costs. Again, when you are jumping out there and you may purchase a brand new van. I did it. I purchased a 15-passenger Sprinter van on my first vehicle. Was it the right vehicle? No, I didn't do my research the way I needed to. But I learned the hard way. And so it gives you less overhead as your startup, because you have that car note if you finance it, which I did. And you also have your commercial insurance. The newer the vehicle, yes, your insurance price may fluctuate depending on your age and your driving record. It also may depend on the year that you have it. So, like, again, you have a newer vehicle, it depends on your driving record more so, but an older vehicle, they know that, it could go up and down. So the insurance prices, they fluctuate. But when you add that onto financing a vehicle as well, the cost can be pretty costly, So you have less overhead. That's another pro. And also, you already have a vehicle. That's the third pro. The vehicle is already secured. A lot of you all as well may be looking and researching on what kind of vehicle to purchase, which van to purchase, which one is the best one for you. And, it gives you a leg up in the game when you do have a vehicle that will make you some money and allows you to say, hey, okay, well, I didn't have to do my research and waste time on that. I can put my time and invest my time into other things, because you already have a vehicle. All right. Now, some of the cons. All right, I'm going to be just real with you all. And again, I'm not reading the questions right now. I'm just going through my notes right here, but I'm definitely going to get to the questions. So please make sure you put those in the comments, okay? Cons. So when starting with your own vehicle, typically the average Joe is not riding around and has a wheelchair van just on hand. Some people may. You may have an inherited, you may have your own personal wheelchair van, whatever the case may be. But on average, a lot of people have either a sedan or a van that is just a regular ambulatory van, okay? So that does restrict you to the level of mobility in which you can transport. And so what I mean by that is, say for instance, you invest the money in to get the commercial insurance, right? You get signed on with some brokers. You let them know your area that you can service, and they start calling you for wheelchair trips. You got to turn those trips away. Put it on private pay. You have people who looked you up on Google, have your ads, and they have gotten your business card or brochure some type of way. Well, they call you because their aunt needs to get transported in her wheelchair to her doctor's appointment or to church, just a leisure appointment, right? Well, you can't do it because you are restricted to an ambulatory vehicle. Again, if you do have a wheelchair van as your personal vehicle, that's totally different. But I'm speaking specifically for people who may just have a sedan vehicle or a regular van that is not equipped with a wheelchair ramp. So that restricts you. Depending on the vehicle type, it may not be viewed as professional by the consumer. So what I mean by that is, someone books you and you pull up in a Hyundai Accent. That's pretty small. If they just had knee surgery and they can't bend their knee, but they can walk to the car, they just need to they don't even need to put their whole leg up on the seat. They just need to be able to stretch it out and put their crutches in the back. That may not be enough space for them. Okay? They need more space than that. So depending on the type of vehicle that you have for your personal vehicle, you want to consider that too. Is your sedan, not talking about a van, but is your sedan something that has extra leg room? Can they scoot their seat back? How comfortable is it for you to even consider using this personal vehicle as an NEMT vehicle, right? Also, thirdly, it may take you longer to grow your business, depending on the personal goals that you set forth for yourself or for your business. And what I mean by that is a lot of people come into the industry and the first thing is the dollar amount because they heard how good the industry is. They see, people talking about how much they get paid per trip and like, oh, I can do that. Yeah, you can. You can do it. But where's your heart into that? Are you just rushing to get these people? Are you really being strategic about the people that you pick? Or, are you just all in, That really depends. So, however you decide how you want to grow your business, whether you want to stay small for 1 or 2 years and then increase your fleet drastically, if you want to come out the gate swinging, if you want to just make some extra money on the side, it really depends. But I'm just saying, one of the cons with starting off with your personal vehicle, depending on the vehicle that it is that it could take you longer to grow your business to where you want it to be, depending on the personal goals that you have for your business. So keep that in mind. All right. So I know we got some people in here with different states, so I'm going to reiterate this again. I am specifically in Georgia. So some of the things I'm going to go over, and I'll tell you, I'll stop myself and tell you all, what is specifically for Georgia. But some of the things I'm going to go over are specifically based on your state's requirements and what they require. So give me 1 second. So I'll give you an example. Georgia is a broker state. And what I mean by that is we don't have the luxury of just taking Medicaid or Medicare clients and billing them directly. We have brokers that are mandated for that, and that's who we have to go through. Now, with private pay, that's totally different. But when it comes to who runs the state's transportation for NEMT, for Georgia specifically, and for a few other states as well, it is the broker. Tennessee is one, Texas is one, Florida is one, North Carolina is another. You have some states that operate on a dual method where you can bill brokers, where you can go through brokers as well as go through direct insurance. Now, a lot of plans, there are new healthcare plans that are branching off, and you don't have to go through the brokers, and you can get contracted directly with them. But that's another way of having to do your marketing and doing your research. That's a totally different subject. So specifically speaking, you have to know whether your state is a broker state, or how does the state direct the NEMT trips for clients in that state for Medicaid, Medicare. Okay, that's starting off first. Who would you contact? Department of Human Services, Department of Health Services, Department of Transportation. Whoever handles that within your state, for Georgia, is Department of Human Services. And again, it goes through the two major brokers, which is Southeast Trans, which is now Verida, and Motive Care, used to be Logistic Care. So those are who Georgia has. A lot of other states has Motive Care and Southeast Trans as well. Well, Verida. But, that's a Southeast region thing, and you have to do your research. But moving right along, because I can talk about that and go off subject. I'm sorry, y'all. So yeah, you want to see if your state is a broker state or if it's a private state in terms of being able to bill Medicaid, Medicare directly. All right, so let's see. I'm skimming through my notes because I was just rambling. All right, so say for instance that you have your sedan, you haven't purchased a wheelchair van yet, you're just doing ambulatory clients, and you want to get on with a broker. And you reach out to this broker, and their insurance limits are higher than what your state limits may be. For example, with Georgia, the state limits are for 12 passenger or less, you have, 100,000, 300,000, 50,000. 100,000 for bodily injury, 300,000 for bodily injuries or death of all persons injured or killed, and then 50,000 for limited loss of damage. Then for anything over 12 passengers, it's 100,000, 500,000, and 50,000. So depending on how big the vehicle is, depends on what the state's requirements are for you to carry for your insurance, right? So say for instance you go to the broker and they want you to have a $500,000 policy, $1 million policy, which I believe Southeast Trans as well as Motive Care both require you to have $1 million policy, right? So that is going to be a lot more on the ticket bill per month when it's time for you to pay your commercial insurance. So if you're just doing if you're just doing ambulatory and you don't have wheelchair or a stretcher just yet, I'll be honest with you, you're not going to make that much money. Will you make money? Yes, but are you going to make that much money where you're going to need to be paying that amount of money each month for the commercial insurance bill? You can do the math yourself. But the answer to me is no. And I'm just going to be real with you. The ambulatory trips that you're going to get, they're going to give you a lot of volume. Absolutely. Absolutely. But you're going to run yourself ragged. Why? Because the distances are not going to be that long. The rates are already not that high. You don't give Medicaid, Medicare brokers the rates that you do. They give you their rate sheet, and that's it. You have to take what they want, what they want to give you. And if they try to contact you outside of your area, then yeah, you can do a quote, but it may not get accepted. It may, you just have to depend. If they have no other provider to do it and you're the one, then absolutely you'll get accepted. But if they don't have anyone else, if they do have other people, then you're going to get skipped over. Also, again, the broker pool is a lot bigger than the private pay pool. They have a lot of other providers to choose from. So if you only can offer ambulatory and, you're not willing to do certain things that they want you to do, they're going to skip over you and go to somebody else who is, So that's one thing to consider when it comes to the cost of the commercial insurance policy per month versus is it worth it, So moving on to the private pay of that, yes, Is it harder? Yes, but we'll get into that in a second. All right. So going back, you want to, if you're not in Georgia, again, I don't know what your state's commercial insurance policies are or the limits are, but you want to check and see, okay, what is their for hire insurance policy? That's the policy that you would sign up with through the insurance company. If you're not getting an NEMT policy, you would get a for hire policy, and you would get your personal vehicle into your business name, and then you would go ahead and insure it as a for hire policy instead of the NEMT policy. NEMT policy is going to cover the wheelchair and stretcher clients. If you tell me to do stretcher, they're going to say, okay, we're going to put a stretcher policy on there. I made the mistake of saying, hey, we're going to be doing stretcher, and it had the stretcher addition on the policy for a few months until I realized, ooh, let me take that off. So, it really depends on what you're doing, what your setup is at this time, okay? All right. Now, I want you to understand, you can still, if you're doing strictly ambulatory, you can still receive private pay clients by meeting the state's minimums in insurance, okay? You don't have, if you're just doing private pay, at this time, you do not have to say, oh, well, let me go ahead and get a $500,000 policy, because at this time, you're not taking clients that are even going to put that policy money back into your pocket. You just need to make sure you're not breaking the law, okay? So make sure that you are meeting the state's requirements and you have the correct policy on a commercial policy for your business, okay? It's going to still be costly, but it's going to be a lot less than what you would pay for an NEMT policy. I hope I'm making sense here. If I'm not, please hit me in the DMs. Okay. All right. Again, I haven't checked the questions yet, but I'm trying to get through this because I'm talking a lot, y'all. Lord have mercy. I know we're supposed to end at 7:30. Well, I was a little late, so 7:35. But we might run a little late tonight, so all right, that's cool. Let's see. Where's my notes at? I said that part. All right, so going to this. Now, your biggest competition when you don't have a vehicle that is wheelchair, ramp accessible, or you can do stretches, is going to be Uber and Lyft. I mean, it's the obvious. You got a phone, you can request a ride there in anywhere between 2 to however many minutes, depending on the area that you're in. But, if you're in a more metro area or a city field area, then you would be 2 to 10 minutes max getting a driver picked up. I'm sorry, y'all. My dog is doing something. I know she just did something that she ain't got no business doing. She's looking at me that way. But anyway, I got to get through this. So that's going to be your biggest competition. However, a lot of people in the NEMT world that need our services, they don't like using Uber and Lyft. Why? Well, if I'm booking an NEMT service for a surgery that I'm going for, and I need someone to stay with me, number one, because I'm getting anesthesia and they say I can't have someone to just drop me off and leave. I may be already groggy in the morning and I need help filling out my paperwork. Is an Uber driver going to do that? Nope. They're going to pick you up, not even open the door for you, get you in the car, and drop you off. Do they care if you got in? No. And so these are the people that you are selling your service to. It's like, why should I use you versus Uber or Lyft? These are your reasons right here. You need me. Uber just going to pick you up and drop you off. If you're researching NEMT companies to use for their services, then obviously you need NEMT services, right? So with that being said, you're going to make sure that you have that care, the level of care that you need. A lot of people who may be the granddaughter, the grandson, the son, they are the ones booking these appointments for their loved ones for these types of appointments. You also have people who, we are in the prime stage of baby boomers. So they are still very much so able to do things for themselves, but they may have moved to an area where they have no friends or family. They may have moved somewhere that was away from their hometown, and their kids grew up and they have started their own family and they don't have anyone that's nearby. But can they do for themselves? Yes, but they just need someone to have that level of care. Those are your prime clients right there. Yes, you are going to be competing with Uber and Lyft. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say it's going to be easy. It's definitely not. But that's why you have to be hungry and go get it. You also want to make sure that when you have that client in front of you or on the phone or whatever, however you have approached that person, that you are ready to sell yourself okay? Especially when you only have a sedan, a sedan or a van. I was gonna say wheelchair van, but a sedan or a van that does not have a wheelchair ramp. You are really selling yourself because they do have a lot more options to use besides you. So it's going to be all about your customer service. It's going to be all about how you're taking care of them and what you can offer them for what they need. But you definitely want to make sure that you are contacting them and following up with them and giving them all the level of love and care that they're like, I'm going to go ahead and use this company all the time, because that's how you retain your clients. And that's also how you can get them on some type of monthly payment, especially your dialysis clients. Hello, they have to go 3 times a week, and you have to go to dialysis. You have to. You can't miss dialysis. It's like, I'll go tomorrow. No, it's life or death. Okay? And for some of you all who may have family members or loved ones that are on dialysis, you know how detrimental it is to their health. They have to go. So, and 3, maybe 4 times a week, depending on their treatment plan. But those are the clients that you want to love on, because they're going to love back on you. Okay? All right. I'm rambling. So, finally, because I know I got to get to the questions, but finally, one of the things that I recommend, because again, when you are with your own sedan and you are with your own van, you are going to have to sell yourself a lot. Please make sure you have that marketing binder on hand. If you don't know what I'm talking about, please go back and look at a few of my other live replays. I believe it's from like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago at this point. And I talked about how to market for private pay. That's the title of it, okay? But you want to make sure you check that out, because I talked about the marketing binder and how you need to have everything in one place. All the things I talked about in the beginning of this video: your articles of incorporation, your business license, your LLC, you don't have to have your DMB number in there, but you want to have a copy of your COI, certificate of insurance, once you get your commercial insurance. You want to have a copy of your COI all in one place. Pictures of your vehicle, pictures of your logo, everything, a background of the company, all in one place in that binder, because that's how you're going to sell yourself. As you're talking to somebody and explaining your business to them, you hand them that binder. They're listening to you, but people are visual learners. They're, auditory learners. So they want, and feeling learners. They may remember a page of, sensory. That's the proper word, sensory learners. But they may be listening to you talk, right? They hear you talking, and they're flipping through that binder, and it could be a picture that stands out on the page, and they, filling the page, and they remember that. You know what? I remember that company. Sure, call this company. Let me look them up real quick. I got their number right here. Here, go ahead and call them for your appointment. I'm telling you, y'all, it happens literally just like that, okay? So make sure that you're prepared to sell yourself at all times. The marketing binder, that's it. That's it. People will say, oh, go online and check me out. Well, yeah, but we're still in that age where everyone that we come in contact with, they may not be as digital savvy or mobile savvy or whatever. They still want to have that hard copy stuff, So make sure that you are able to provide it all around. Yeah, you can have your website. You can even have a QR code that pulls your information up. If you're not familiar with a QR code, hit me in my DMs. I'll send you an example of one, okay? But you want to make sure you have all the digital stuff, yes, but you also have your brochures, your flyers, and your marketing binder that's right there where they can go through things and see what you're really about. All right? So I got to the end of my notes. Let me go through these questions. I'm going to start off with I think I got a little bit more on Instagram. Let me see. All right. So Gerald says, I haven't started yet, but I want to use my personal cards to start. Okay, Gerald. So if you have any questions specifically, I skipped some. I'm sorry, Gerald did. Do you know any good nationwide apps where they are looking for NEMT drivers using their personal sedan? Gerald, please let me know which state that you are located in. I have a few partners, one specifically in Chicago. If you are in Chicago on this live tonight, they have opportunities for drivers that really are NEMT providers that are able to, because it's for the Chicago Public Schools. So if you have something that, depending on the vehicle, if you have a larger sedan like a Nissan Altima or a Honda Accord, anything that has like a good back seat space, that would be good. Um, all right. All right. Von Britt says, I'm in South Carolina. Okay. South Carolina has brokers as well as directly to the insurance. So, Vaughn, where are you at with yours? Where are you at? Have you started yet? Are you already starting? Yes, Jada. I'm happy for you. Yes, ma'am. Oh, now, Rain, how you gonna forget about the live, girl? Okay. How's that? Okay, now my question is, how to have the client absorb the fees when sending an invoice on Square? Oh, that's a great question. Okay, so I believe Square's percentage is 3.5% of the transaction. And honestly, the same way that you go to a gas station and they say a $5 minimum or your car will be charged, I'm not saying you have to have a minimum. What I'm saying is what we do is we let them know there is going to be a fee assessed for using their card. And I'll be honest with you, I have had a little bit like, oh, really? And it's like, oh, okay. Depending on the price, we may waive that. But typically, they're okay with it. We don't want to lose a client just off of a little bit of a fee, but depending on how much the fee is, because once you have to you have to eat the fee from Square, and then once you transfer it to your account, you got to eat that fee as well. So I get it, but you also don't want to lose the client based off the fee. So if you can, get them to eat that, which just it's all about verbiage and how you word it. Say, okay, with that, we truly appreciate you for reaching out to us. We're going to go ahead and take your payment over the phone. It's going to be either debit or credit, and we do have a small credit fee. If it is going to be debit or credit, you can let them know. If the charge is $150, you can do the math of 3.5% of $150 and tell them what the fee is going to be. But I will say, if it's a client that's like out of state and you're getting some really good money for, you might just want to eat that fee. Okay, so it's a case-by-case basis. You want to use your discernment to see, all right, well, should I go ahead and charge it or should I not? Typically, you're going to charge it, of course. But if they're giving you some kickback about it or it's a great fee of a client, then you can just eat that. Okay. Jada, when you say neither does Jersey, what do you mean? I'm sorry, I must skip that part. Oh, wait, Rain, they charge you to send an invoice? Oh, no. You shouldn't have been charged to send an invoice. You should have only been charged when they pay the invoice. Message me because I want to see how you set up your Square. Okay. So Vaughn says that they have the van and need to obtain the LLC or business license. Yes. And I really wanted to touch on that because a lot of people, they do get the vehicles and, go out there and just, start marketing and things like that. But I want you all to, number one, not make the same mistakes I made. And number two, really get the most out of your time. It takes a lot of time and energy to go out there and promote your business and, post flyers and all of this stuff to get yourself out the ground. So when you are really trying to grow and have longevity, you just want to make sure you have that foundation, which really in this industry is going to be your paperwork first. All right, I'm sorry, I'm skipping Instagram. Oh, okay. All right. Hello there. This is I don't want to mess this up, but I believe it's Certus. Oh, Cert. I'm Cert. We're gonna say Cert. I don't know if it's Cert USC, but I definitely Cert USC. There we go. Okay. So hello there. I'm in North Carolina. What's to take into consideration besides mileage when setting a monthly dialysis fee? So we definitely have, if you check out the live schedule, I have the fee live coming up on July the 5th. But just to give you some quick insight, because I know once I start talking about this one fee, I'm going to get questions about other fees. So I'm going to just give him or give her some quick insight, and that's it. The fee live is July 5th, okay? But when you take considerations, most people who are going to dialysis, their dialysis clinic is not too far from their home. You want to make sure you have your base fees already set. So whatever your base rate is, if it's $45 for a ride 10 miles, and their dialysis clinic is 3 miles, well, that's going to fall under that 10 miles because it's 3 miles there, 3 miles back. So you're not going to lower your price because it's just 6 miles. That's your standard. That's your standard fee. So if you're going to be taking them consistently, then you don't want them to pay $45 each time. And I'm just saying $45, just throwing something out there, okay? But you don't want them to pay $45 3 times a week each month, right? Because that's a lot of money. You may want to bring that down to $40, $35, whatever the case may be. Yeah, you may be losing out on $5, $10, but you're gaining that client each month, and you're not going that far. Now, if their dialysis clinic is further from their home, then you may want to reevaluate that. But on average, most people who go to dialysis go to clinics that are closer to their home. Hey, Charlotte. Hey, Charlotte. Okay, next question. How do you get dialysis clients? No, you're fine, sir. You're fine. I just wanted to make sure I didn't mess it up. I'm so sorry if I did. All right. So, in terms of marketing, like I said, you definitely want to make sure that you are putting yourself on the forefront. Again, you may want to go back to about 3 weeks ago when I did the live on how to get private pay clients, because we talked about how to talk to executive directors, or basically the person in charge of the facility, how to set up presentations for either the residents or the people who are at the facility, or setting up a meeting, like a lunch meeting with the director there to really sell your business, and how to develop your marketing binder. So if you didn't check that out, make sure you go back and check that one out, because it'll definitely give you some more insight on how to get your private clients, and not just dialysis clients. Dialysis clients are not just dialysis clients. That's a private pay client if they're contacting you for dialysis clients. I don't want you to just generalize it as, well, how can I get dialysis clients? No, how can you get private pay clients? Because the same tactics and methods that you use to get that dialysis client is going to be the same tactic and methods you use to get any other private pay client, whether they're going for outpatient surgery, whether they're going for a checkup, whether they're going for leisure appointments. However you sell yourself, it's going to be how you sell yourself consistently. So don't think about how can you just get this one client. Think about how do you just get private pay clients in general. Yes, person in charge. Find a person in charge. Now, again, if you all haven't checked that one out, it's about, I want to say maybe 3 weeks old now. So go on to the Facebook, or even on Instagram too. If you're on Instagram, go on the Instagram page, it's there as well. And I do have to update the YouTube page because I download them from Facebook for the YouTube page. So you can go check out the ones that are on YouTube now. If you don't see something that you have heard me talk about should be on there, then it's going to be on Facebook or Instagram, because I haven't updated the YouTube page in about 3 weeks, maybe 4. Okay, don't hold me to that, y'all. Okay, life been lifing, all right? So let me see. I'm about to wrap this up. What other questions that we got before I do? Any other questions? Oh yeah, Jada. Yeah, you can't build them directly. Nope. Do you all have Accessoride in Jersey as well, right? I know it's in New York, but it's in Jersey as well, right? Okay. All right, y'all. Well, I hope I got to everyone's question. I think I did. I'm scrolling up now, making sure. Yep, I think I did. I'm going to send out the reminder tonight once we get all. Oh, access link. Okay. Yeah. To access something. It's always access. But yes. Yeah, you all are a broker state as well. So a lot of states are broker states because the reason for that, yes, it used to be privately controlled, but unfortunately, people took advantage of a good thing and was lying, saying they did trips when they didn't do the trips, taking advantage of the mileage. They were getting overtime for mileage. So a lot of states had to revamp a lot of their systems to get rid of the fraud. So, unfortunately, that's what we have been stuck with for years. I know a lot of people are rooting for an overturn of that, but when it happens, you let me know, because, yeah. Okay? All right. So, again, I thank you for joining in tonight. I truly, truly appreciate it. Oh, I'm sorry. Gerald had one other question before I log off. He says, So should I focus on private pay and brokers when starting in sedan, or just focus on brokers to get clients right away? Well, it really depends on what. Yes, Tennessee is a broker state. It really depends on what you can afford. And I'm going to just be frank with you. As I mentioned, a lot of the brokers have higher insurance limits for their policies, and they require that for you to get on. So if you're saying, hey, I got 4 vehicles and I need to get a policy, a commercial policy, a $500,000, let's be more specific, a $500,000 or $1 million commercial policy for all 4 of these vehicles, and they're only sedan vehicles, they don't do any wheelchair, yeah, you're going to be paying a lot of money. I'm paying a lot of money. If you have one sedan vehicle, and depending on the year it is, depending on your driving record, and you want to get a commercial policy of $500,000 or $1 million because that's what the broker requires, you may be paying a lot of money. Depends. If you are able to afford a full hire policy, which typically the limits are lower for those in your state, whatever your state requires for a full hire or chauffeur, however they categorize whatever verbiage they use in the state that you're in, okay? You want to check to see what the commercial limits are for that, because essentially that's what you are doing. Yes, you are categorized as an NEMT, but are you providing wheelchair or stretcher services? No. Can you transport somebody under a full hire policy that has a brace or has some crutches? Absolutely. As a commercial policy, are you covered under the state's requirements? Absolutely. So it really just depends. I can't tell you which way to go for sure. It depends on what you can afford and what you're willing to pay for while you build up your business, and how serious you are with it right now. Are you still considering it? You don't really know. You want to see how lucrative it can be, or how good you may be at it yet. Try it. I say try it with your personal vehicle, get the insurance limits, and market yourself to take ambulatory clients. Now, if you're ready to go all in, please, baby, go all in, okay? I'm rooting for you. I love going all in. Okay, I'm a Leo. We just go all in, okay? So I understand. But when you ask me which one you should do, I can't tell you which one, A or B, because it really depends on what your goals are and what your personal situation is right now. And I'm just being honest with you. All right. So y'all, I'm gonna wrap this thing on up. Please make sure you join me in for next week. Which one is next week? Oh, preparing to hire staff. I know a few of you all are ready to start bringing some people on. So next week is going to be based on preparing to hire your staff, things you should have in place. Make sure you check that out, especially Rain. I know you're still in here. Rain, you need to be on for next week, okay? So make sure you check in next week, because we will be covering that topic. Any questions that you have, please make sure you keep them. You think of them, write them down on your phone, jot them down in a notepad, something. Just make sure you have them ready for next week, because I know you're going to think of some things after we log off tonight. You're like, oh, I should have asked her that. Yeah, you should have. And it's okay, but just save it for next week, okay? All right. Well, thank you all for joining in. I truly appreciate you all. And if you know someone who needs to see this playback, it will be posted once we finish, okay? All right. Y'all have a good night. Eat you some good dinner and get you some good rest. All right. Good night.